Yesterday, we talked about could Northwestern bounce back after that pretty rough performance against Ohio State? Well, last night they showed you that they could, and they really could show you something in the process. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Northwestern, your daily podcast on the Northwestern Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome in to Locked On Northwestern, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Carter Bird, and thank you for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen each and every day. We really appreciate it. We're available wherever you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. And we're also on YouTube. Just search Locked On Northwestern. You can find us there. And yeah, be sure to check us out wherever you are listening. Make sure you are subscribed and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss an episode as we continue to pump out videos each week, really, as we go, just about what's going on with Northwestern. And that brings us to last night. Northwestern. They bounced back against Illinois with a 73-60 victory at home after losing just a couple days prior to Ohio State in what was probably one of their worst performances of the year when they lost to Ohio State 57 rather, at home in a game that they were never in, not even close. And that was the big question coming into this game yesterday, is the fact that Northwestern did not feel ready for Big Ten play on Sunday. They didn't look prepared. They looked physically overwhelmed. You had to question the toughness of the team because Look, the shooting was awful. They started the game 2 of 24 from the field. They got down 34-8 in the first half. I mean, that's unacceptably bad. It's actually remarkable. I've never seen a game get that lopsided. Ironically, if you watch the Duke game yesterday, they did something similar with NC State and ended up losing. But they just looked physically overwhelmed, and it was frustrating. You wonder if it's because the schedule lightened up there in December and maybe and Northwestern there against some lesser teams, they're clicking on all cylinders. And they looked really, really good. And then you had the long, I think 9 days off before playing Brown. And when you played Brown, little rusty, not the cleanest game, but you got to win. But you looked like maybe you needed something to keep that reminder, keep it fresh on what Big Ten play was going to be like, because it'd been close to a month since your one and only Big Ten game when you upset Michigan State 70-63 in their place. But you get to that Ohio State game, they kind of push you around, they dominate you, you shoot horribly. You shoot 28.4% from the field while they shoot 46%. You're 29% from three while they are 40%. And you go 10 of 17 at the line while they go 15 of 20. Just top to bottom, you can go down almost all the stats besides basically turnovers. And you saw Ohio State win all of them. Ohio State just ran away with the game. I mean, from the opening tip. And Northwestern did settle down in the second half, and that's worth being discussed because they did win that second half 40-38. So you saw that there was some fight, but you had questions you can't dig a hole like that for yourself in Big Ten play. If you get down 26 in the first half, if you get down 28 at all in a Big Ten game, you're not going to come back and win at all. It doesn't matter who you're playing in Big Ten play. Well, fast forward to last night against Illinois, a team that has some similarities to that Ohio State team, an Illinois team that had started 0-2 in Big Ten play. Yes, things had not started as well as they would have liked in conference play, but they had impressive wins. They had the overtime win against Texas. They had the win against UCLA, a couple top 10 wins on the resume. You knew this team was dangerous, and you knew they had some really good players. Dane Danger down low, really dangerous guy. Big physical, big man. You wondered how Northwestern would hold up physically in this game. And you know what? They answered the call. They really did. They showed that toughness. They showed that fight. It's amazing the difference that the game feels when you don't dig any massive holes, when you stay with a team the entire way. Then all you need is a big run, which we saw Northwestern have, and it allowed them to get build that second half lead and kind of run away with the game. And the defense, after not really showing up against Ohio State, it showed back up in this one, and that is important. You hold this Illinois team below 40% from the field. You hold them below 30% from three. You only let them get to the free throw line 10 times. They only make 6. You don't get dominated on the boards like you did by Ohio State. You turn them over twice as many times. Like, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of fight that you see in this game that is encouraging. It's encouraging because Northwestern could have allowed that loss on Sunday to beat them twice, but they didn't. They responded. It was impressive. I was definitely encouraged. I had questions. I thought they could bounce back, but I had some questions because physically, I don't think mentally they were prepared for the physicality of Big Ten play on Sunday. Well, to me, they were last night. And like a great example, you have Robbie Barron running on, I think it was a cut. Maybe it was just a baseline drive. And he goes up, dunks over Dane Danger through contact and won. Big momentum play in the game. You also there was one play where Matt Nicholson got switched onto a guard and they have him out of the 3-point line, and his effort on defense, his ability to stay in front of his man, and it was one of the best defensive possessions of the game. And it's not going to stick out because there was not a block for him. There was not a steal for him. He gets those plays. He can do that, but he didn't on this play. But his effort level, the quickness that he showed on the defensive end, those type of things kind of encapsulated that toughness needed in the Big Ten, the being willing to face the challenge that you have to have. And I thought Northwestern showed that in this game against Illinois. I was very impressed. In a second, we're going to dive into the numbers, the things that I noticed that helped swing the game in Northwestern's favor, the things I liked that they did. But first, let's talk about our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From pro football to college bowl season to basketball and really any sport out there, we've got it all at BetOnline. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Also, thank you for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen every single day. Make sure to check out Locked On Sports today, the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes or less, plus instant reactions, game recaps, and Locked On's take of the day. Locked On Sports today, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. All right. So let's take a look at the numbers here, because there are some things that happened in this game that were interesting. There's some things that would make you think that Illinois was probably going to win the game, and then there's mainly one big stat that I really respected out of Northwestern that allowed them to actually win the game. When you look at the face value, your typical stats, field goal percentage, Northwestern is only shot 32%. Generally, that's not going to be good enough to win you a Big Ten game. Illinois shot 40%. So like it was not a pretty performance from that aspect. Illinois made 6 more field goals than Northwestern did. Granted, what helps is Northwestern was better from 3. They hit 7 of their 18 threes for 39%. Illinois hit 8 of their 28. But when you look at this next stat, this is the difference in the game. Without a doubt, Illinois goes 6 of 10 at the free throw line. Northwestern goes 32 for 40. They got to the line 40 times. That's impressive. That's something. Look, this Northwestern team, that's something that we've talked about. This Northwestern team is not a good shooting team. They have not been at any point this year. Really not that close. There have been a couple games where maybe it's been solid. If you don't get a 4 for 9 and a shooting performance from 3 out of Chase Audige and a 2 for 3 out of Ty Berry, you're what? 1 for 6 from 3 for the game. I mean, you had 3 guys hit all 7 of your threes, because Brooks Barnheiser was 1 for 1. You were good from 3 in this game. You didn't have like the huge sample size that Illinois had with 28 attempts, but you only hit 1 fewer 3 on 18 attempts. So you were good shooting from deep, but you were really not very good shooting inside the arc. But that's been something we've seen all year out of Northwestern. But you know how you can solve that problem? You get to the free throw line. And that's exactly what this team did. They got fouled early and often. And I think, Illinois got called for 29 fouls to Northwestern's 17 for the game. So you had a team in Illinois that was a little over aggressive, and Northwestern attacked that. Granted, a lot of those fouls did come when Illinois was trying to get back in the game late. You ended up having 3 Illinois players foul out of the game. And that was something. I mean, you had Jaden Epps. He was out of the game. Really, they were in foul trouble from the start of the game all the way to the end. Matt Meyer, he fouled out. Terrence Shannon Jr., the guy who is the kind of engine that makes this Illinois team go offensively, he fouled out too. And then, you also had Sincere Harris, who had 4 fouls. You had a couple guys with 3 fouls. Like, you kept the pressure on them because you attacked them and you put them in positions where they were in bad spots, and they ended up fouling a lot. Boo Buie goes to the line 12 times. He hits 11 of them. Chase Audige goes to the line 8 times. He hits 7 of them. Ty Berry goes to the line 6 times. He hits 5 of them. Barnheiser goes to the line 8 times. He hits 5 of them. But like, just getting to the line that many times can be an equalizer for you when you're not shooting the ball well, which Northwestern was not shooting the ball well in this game. And that further goes to the toughness of this team that it showed last night, because they were willing to fight through contact. You saw, the Robbie Barron and 1 dunk was truly awesome. I loved it. But you also had your two ball handlers are fighting through cramps. It really was. You had Chase Audige. He cramped up first. I think he fought those cramps for a couple of minutes. You had Boo Buie cramp up a couple minutes later. Those two guys fighting through cramps go and score 36 points in this game. And look, Boo Buie was wildly inefficient from the field. I think he started the game 0 for 11 from the field. I think he hit his final 2 shots. He hit his 11 of his 12 free throws. He got to 15 points. Chase Audige, 5 of 14, not the most efficient, but he was 4 of 9 from 3 and 7 of 8 at the line. He dropped 21 in this game. You just saw guys, you saw Tiberi step up. Nicholson, his performance on the boards is not as good as it was on Sunday, where he had 13 boards, but he had 7 points, 6 boards. He had an assist. You saw this team. This team doesn't necessarily, I guess it kind of relies on Chase Audige to go get points, but everybody else kind of has a role and figures stuff out. You have 3 guys with 6+ rebounds in this game. In his post-game interview, press conference, you saw Chris Collins. He really cited the Titus Verhoeven free throw shot that he hit, the shot from the free throw line, which was his only basket of the game. He said that, look, things were not going well, and that kind of jump-started us. But their ability to get to the line, their ability to protect the basketball in this game, only 8 turnovers to 15 by Illinois. It allowed them, and also fast break points. 11 to 6. You got out there, you won that matchup. You had 11 steals in the game. It allowed this Northwestern team to pull off an upset in a home game that they were underdogs in. They were 3.5-point underdogs, and we're going to talk about that home court advantage here in a second. But first, let's talk about our friends at Built Bar. Are you looking for a delicious treat but don't want all of that fat and calories? Then you got to try Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal is to eat a little healthier this year. If you're like me and you want to eat healthier but don't want to compromise taste, then man, I've got just the thing for you. You got to try Built Bar. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious, and you won't think they're that good for you, but they are, I promise. Perfect for your New Year's resolution. What makes Built Bars, what makes them so good? Well, for starters, they're all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come with some unbelievable flavors. Some new ones here that I haven't even really seen. Churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they're healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get your box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. Or if you're close to your Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter and churro. You can thank me later, as you got to check out these Built Bars. They're so very good. Also, thank you for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen today. Now make Locked On Sports Today your second listen. Peter Bukowski brings you the biggest stories from around the sports world in 20 minutes. Get the analysis and opinions before anyone else with our local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today podcast, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's talk about it. This is home field advantage, or home court advantage, rather. It's huge. It's huge. And maybe this is the first game this season where it was evident. The Welsh Ryan Center or Welsh Ryan Arena was packed. It felt like it was a very big game, a rivalry game, in-state rival game, Big Ten matchup. The students were there. The announcers made note of it. The fact that the students are on campus at Northwestern and they're not at every other Big Ten school, I think they said. It changed. It gives you that extra energy. And Chris Collins talked about in his post-game press conference. He talked about, look, like you feed off that energy in the arena, especially when you get tired late in the game. He talked about, look, we looked fatigued in the second half. He said there were moments where we looked fatigued and we fed off that energy. And you know what? I've seen it at a bunch of different places. Places that maybe didn't used to be good at basketball, that have built really good, really strong student sections, and it becomes a very difficult environment to play in. Chris Collins said he'd put that environment up against just about anywhere. I mean, he's been lucky enough, in his words, to coach or play at every big venue in the country, every one that is talked about. And he said that, look, that environment last night, it stands up to them all. And that's what Northwestern has to create. When Northwestern has a home game, the environment needs to be like that. I know the home schedule has not been maybe the most amazing thing. I know the Ohio State game was New Year's Day. Understandable why that one didn't have a ton of people there. But you know what? If you can create that, if you can replicate that environment from last night at all the home games going forward, it's going to become really difficult for anybody in the Big Ten to come into Welsh Ryan Arena and pull and get a win. I mean, and at a certain point, those games in Welsh Ryan, if a team does get a win, it might be always considered an upset because you can create a hostile environment. You can make it so difficult on opponents. You can, because look, there are, I mean, you think about Rupp Arena at Kentucky. You think about Purdue, places like that. You think about Providence right now. You think about Arkansas, Auburn, Kansas, Duke. It's worth points. It's worth points because you can really agitate and bother an opposing team. And I think that if Northwestern can replicate that atmosphere, it will allow them to win more home games than people expect. And that's what I want to see going forward. I want to see the student section continue to show up like they did last night, because it'll help this team. This team, I believe this team can be a tournament team, but they have to have a hostile environment at home that they play in to give them that extra energy, to make life just that much harder on their opponents. So that would be my challenge to the Northwestern students is you got to replicate what you just did last night. That's got to be every time out now because it makes a difference. That's going to do it for today's episode. Appreciate you tuning in. Obviously, Northwestern gets the 73-60 victory over Illinois. Big game. Got back on track, bounced back from a very difficult loss, tough loss, where you kind of got dominated by Ohio State. Next up, you've got Northwestern back in action on Sunday at a top 15 team in Indiana. Going to be a heck of a test for them. I don't think there is a line for that game yet because lines for college basketball come out so late. But we will talk about that a little bit tomorrow as we get ready for that one. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen every day. We really appreciate it. We're available wherever you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. We're also on YouTube. Just search Locked On Northwestern. You can find us there. Yeah, and wherever you're listening, make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications. I'm your host, Carter Bird. You can follow me on social media at CarterBird13. I'll see you all next time.